there's any number of ways to numb ourselves and not face reality, not be where our feet are. So I think journaling, something, part of my practice when I came to the realization that our marriage needed to end was I really deepened my prayer and meditation practice. And I still to this day will do that along with journaling pretty much every morning.
Yeah.
Reading the masters, whether it's Eckhart Tolle or books like yours that you've written.
Thank you.
So that I'm grounded. And then some of the other practices that I've developed that sort of flowed naturally from that are yoga, which is a moving meditation. I think you're a yogi.
Yes.
But in any event, there's any number of ways where we can ground ourselves and deal with things as they are, not as we'd like them to be. And I think that is really important in the first step in moving through this process. Do you have any additional thoughts on that beyond the journaling practice?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I am a huge yogi, and that really developed through my divorce as well, because as an athlete, the moving actually made the meditation possible. I was not so good at sitting and meditating until I started yoga, and I understood what the meditative brain felt like, but I couldn't get there without the movement. And then now, because I have my yoga practice and I understand what that brain state is, I can now meditate. I can sit still and meditate, but I don't think I could have before my yoga practice. So that one's huge. I'm a daily yogi. And the other thing that you said that caught my ear was the addictive nature of addiction is really just a disconnection with ourself, right?
Yeah.
And so when we don't want to be connected, when there's something that's bothering us and it's hard to look at, that addiction serves to disconnect us from what we don't want to look at. And, I think that can happen at any stage of life, and there's different personalities that are more prone to addiction and less, but that addictive, those things really disconnect us from ourselves and from the people that we love. And whether a marriage stays together or splits apart, if that is in your home, it's not a healthy environment,
Right.
Whether you're single parent or dual parent household, it is something that is so bad for you and so bad for your kids. That is something that I love to help people get them to the right place. And you have to want to help yourself, but it's something that really, in generational healing, almost always when you look in these generational healing stories, there is an addictive pattern that has come through. Whether you're the child of an alcoholic, even if your parent was raised by an alcoholic and as the next generation, you didn't even know it. There will be something in the emotional disconnection that really affects our personalities and then the way that we bond with each other. So, and that's a lot. I had to do a lot of digging on that stuff because people don't want to blame people they love. It's not a blame game. I always say, kind of the foundation of the work that I do, I go, people are doing the best they can with what they know. And if you just take that as a blanket statement and work from there, you lose the judgment and you just say, but then what I add on to that statement is people are doing the best they can with what they know, but it's our responsibility to know more. So you have to keep learning. And if you stop, that's when things, the wheels come off. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that perspective. I like you, had a similar epiphany as I was going through my divorce. It's one of those things that really shakes things up in a way that few other things do and causes you to take, if you're mindful, a very close look at yourself. Because whether you're dealing with a situation, not to cast blame, where it's obvious that the marriage needs to end for reasons that have to do with your spouse, you are deeply impacted by having been with that person and in that energy for a long time. Mm-hmm. And so you have to heal yourself. It's kind of like the oxygen mask in an airplane. You can't help your children until you help yourself first. It's really true.
Yeah.
You learn that firsthand when you go through a divorce. And the generational healing aspect of it, when you become mindful and introspective, you start to realize, question, why am I reacting in this way? Mm-hmm. There's no longer a tiger chasing us through the jungle like there may have been eons ago. Yeah. But perhaps we experienced something from, as you described, being a child where several generations back, even there was substance abuse that gets passed down and carried through, and it's almost like you have to clear that and break that chain, or you're just going to keep passing it down, passing the misery down through the generations. And it's you have to be very proactive about it.
Yeah.
I know for myself, I've joined support groups when I meet with clients, particularly given the pandemic and the isolation that it imposed. Many of the clients that come in to meet with me as a family law attorney, their spouses relapsed during the pandemic, and they just can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And I will tell them they have to do two things before I can work with them. They have to have a therapist, because even if their spouse is the substance abuser, I know that they've been deeply impacted by that. And they need to go to usually a program like Al-Anon or another program like that, so that they have support.
Yeah.